formula for this needs to look like. So there's a little piece of this that is a little bit about myself. There's a little bit of me in here, but I'm gonna move fast. I am design and creativity is my second career. I went to college to be an engineer, mechanical engineer, and basically got laid off in 2020 and decided to never go back because I hated it and it made me sad. So design is something that, art and design is something that I found like in college. I was making flyers for free for people because I just loved it so much. So that's kind of where that came from. These are a lot of the creators who are exposed to me. We got Chutzpah up here, Simone Wilder, we got John Contino, Trey Seals, Matt Boyce are some of the creators that kind of inspire me. This is a little bit of that, but I also threw in a couple of my like branding projects. A big thing for me is using type in branding. Again, vibes is what branding is about to me. So, and type brings a lot of that to the party because what's going to be there at the end of the day most of the time. You can create a mark, but if you can create a word mark, you kind of can bring type and bring emotion with that. So here are some of the pieces that I have worked on recently. This was Nurturing Strength, and then this was another one that was more of like a construction brand. Omnivore, this was one that was kind of trying to gamify recycling. This was one that I worked on for a postpartum doula, so it was a little bit softer, more elegant. And then this was one for like a voting campaign for a nonprofit. But a lot of times I just like making stuff for myself, and I find a lot of joy in that. These are motion pieces. I love type and motion together. I think, again, it brings a lot of emotion. You can kind of, the letters turn into characters, like literally characters, because you can make them move. And then here's some, I love lettering. My style a lot of the times is very free hand, like, it's funny because like type most of the time is very traditional and very like laid out a certain way, but most of the time when it comes to type for me, I like to break the rules because I mean, I come from a different place. I don't know what the rules are most of the time, so I just do what I want. And so this is a font that I actually made last year called 17 Androids. I found a specimen somewhere, I think it was like Nike or something, but it said like yard runners, and those were the only letters that I had. So one day I was like, well, what if I like made the rest of the letters? What would those letters look like? And that was kind of the experiment that I went on to try to figure out like my first typeface basically. And I have a buddy who's a type designer, and really the reason that I'm here tonight is because I feel like community and type kind of go together, and he would we sat on calls every week, like we'd have an hour session set up and he would sit there and walk me through type design, and he sat with me while we built this, and we basically built it together, and I learned from him how to build letter forms and everything. So yeah, and 17 Androids is a flip on Android 17 from Dragon Ball Z because he's the swaggiest character of all. I think something that I want to do is like all my fonts are named after anime type content. So that's really what's going on here. But again, I had a lot of fun with it. And then I also, something that I've learned from other like type founders and other friends who make type is give your type away. Like, yes, there is an opportunity to make money, but give it to your friends and have them make stuff with it. So all these pieces were pieces made by my friends after I passed the type along to them to go and like make something with. So you never know what you'll get back, and you'll never know what someone else sees that you don't see in the work that you make. So yeah.
It's like the traveling drone.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's 5 minutes, but it feels like it.
Okay. So yeah, that goes by fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you were developing this font, what was your initial goal?
I mean, honestly, just to make 26 letters and then the numbers and everything. That was literally it. Like, I didn't know. I would like towards the end. I was like, how many do I got left? Like, just trying to get it done because I'm one of those people. I mean, for the neurodivergent people in the room, I was on to the next thing by the time I got to the very end, kind of thing. So, yeah, it was just to do it. I think that's another exercise in being creative. Is like sometimes you don't know the medium, but how would you put your spin on it? How would you try to do it? So I like to do that a lot of times.
Yeah, I love that. And then you said you shared it with your friends too.
Yeah.
And then were you surprised by any of the solutions they came up with, or the way they expressed with your font?
Yeah, like someone asked me, they're like, "Can I stretch it?" And I was like, "I never even thought about that." Like basically, like, can I like manipulate it to whatever I want it to be? And I never thought of that being like something someone would ask. But I think it's this one down here where she decided to stretch that ever, and I think she stretched art making too. And I loved it. I'm like, condense it, stretch it. Like that's, again, I feel like these things we hold too precious, and it's like, well, maybe we should break it. Maybe we should do something different. Maybe we should try to find a different way to make things look instead of like following how everything is. So.
Yeah, no, I think your friends did a really good job with some of their treatments. I love the way dope is really just like it's really stretched out. Yeah, so that's fun. So have you been working on any other fonts?
I haven't. I have more specimens, but that's also like I'm a freelancer, so most of the time is like client work, and it's like client work, make money, do this. I mean, sometimes you get seen, or sometimes people see it, but it's that toss up. But it's something as a creative that I feel like I don't flex enough, like doing enough creativity type stuff. That's my own. So that's in this year, the rest of this year. That's like I want to do another font. Like I have some specimens that are in mind. I just got to do it. So. And
then, so what kind of feedback are you kind of looking for?
I'm just here to show. Like whatever you want to say, I don't care. I'm here to listen to what, like, again, art's to be shared. So what do you see that I don't see? What is like there? Yeah.
And then like, so going through this process to create this font, sharing it with your friends, seeing what they do, did that make you think about how you developed the font, what you might have done differently, or
100%.
next time? Okay.
100%. Because by the time I got to the end, I was like, okay, well, this is like, I mean, you have different weights, but I didn't make a plan for like what the other weights would look like. So that I kind of even want to go back to this one and be like, okay, well, what would I would call this probably bold, and like what would a regular like weight look like, or what would an ultra bold look like, or what would a condensed or like wide look like. So I think that, again, there's always room to build upon, and that's what I like about being a creative is like the story doesn't end. You can build the next story, and that's why I don't know. I feel like it should all be available to everybody to build upon whatever you want to build upon. So.
Yeah, no, I think it was very successful.
Thank you.
Awesome. I think it's fun when you develop something, like you design something, and then like you said, just give it away. And see what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, are you gonna make $1 million on this tomorrow? No, not your first one. Like, but is it gonna bring creativity or inspiration to someone else? It has, like, because they've used it. So I think that's the democratizing and giving things away. I think is important, and letting people play with the things that you create is important. So
do you find like there's motivation when you do that, when you give away?
Yeah, you get, again, I'm inspired by these people, and now I might want to go make something else because I was like, hey, that was really dope, and now I get to go like, okay, well, how would I play with it in a certain way? So the community aspect of it is important when it comes to being creative. We can't do things in a vacuum.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. All right, so
is there anybody else that would like to?
I just had a quick question. The sans serif you used throughout the presentation, is that Code Pro?
This one?
Code Pro?
This is Termina.
Okay.
Yeah, love Termina.
if you guys want to have any feedback or make any comments, just feel free to do so.
I'll start.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Can you? Oh, you can't really see it on here. I think it's like, do you have a good big Y in your type, in this type?
What do you mean?
I'm saying just something you can see more bigger.
Oh,
the Y.
The letter Y.
No, it's just.
Oh, look at that. There we go.
There we go.
Okay,
There we
perfect.
go.
Okay,
There we go.
this will demonstrate perfectly. So see how the Y, it actually has, it's one of the ones that really stood out for me.
Yeah.
Just because of that little notch right there.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm thinking because that is so interesting that it should be on some other letters. Okay, and I say that because like it's such a cool little thing, especially for maybe some of your like a Y is something that's kind of used,
not as much.
It's flexible.
Yeah.
But what's another flexible letter that you could use that in that it would actually stand out in that word too?
That is a good point.
Okay.
Which one?
Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is like the letter U, by a U and a Y probably wouldn't be in the same word. So like if you used a U, it would be in that one. Or like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a J. A J would be a good one. You could do that on. But it's like I think that is and it said just that little character it gives it so much more. And that's what I put together. Also, did you consider a lot of when people make fonts, they consider the spacing
For sure.
in between. Did you do any spacing in your type design?
Yes, I did. That was part of the in part that I was like, I got to get through this. Like the current, like I sat through and like my buddy's a type designer, so he gave me all his prompts for the doing the letter spacing and everything. And I was like, this is taking forever. So it's not perfect, but it's done.
Yeah. Because most of the fonts that you'll buy, they're already like pre-made. The spacing's already in there, so it just sets really nicely. But if you wanted to do something, you can go in and manipulate it.
Yeah.
But that's a consideration, especially for this one, where there's like thicks and thins, that you have to be kind of careful with it. Because like for instance, like even like look at the between the R and the S and the T, S and the T. It's like that little space is different. So it's just the little things, even between the T and the U. So it's like those little things visually, so that letters don't run together as well. So, but I'm glad that you take that consideration because now you get to do the punctuation.
I know.
Now you get to do the ligatures.
I know.
Yeah. So it's there's a lot more to this.
Woo. So we'll probably do another one first and then hop back into this one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to make. I use glyphs. I don't know if anyone has used glyphs before, but it was very simple and easy to use. And I love companies who decide to put out all the learning content themselves. So they have like a whole library of like how you use their app. So it was very straightforward and very easy. So
kind of going off what Michael was saying real quick, just this so that with that Y, it just. I'm not going to critique it like Michael did. But I just want to say, I love fonts where you have the nice clean font and then you have the deconstructed font, and that's what the Y reminds me of. I can see a whole font where you have that deconstructed, the deconstructed letters, and then you can just kind of build what you want.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and that's, again, there's a lot here. Like
you're sharing your creativity, and this is what happens. You create, motivation and creativity in others.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Cameron, really nice work, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, building a font is hard, first off.
It is. Yes. It is. Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Like your eyes go blurry, mentally you fatigue, right? Like it's just daunting how many things you have to deal with when you're looking at.
100%.
Yeah.
And like making a decision, you're like, well, how like this letter could look like this, but it also could look like 5 other ways. Like, and making the decision and like what you choose.
So I would say overall you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. And what I love about the whole entire font face, like the whole family, they're very distinctly unique.
Yes.
Whereas like every typeface I look at on Adobe Fonts now, or like Google Fonts, is like, you can't tell the friggin' difference between them and Helvetica.
100%.
Like you've got this like really cool like posterized that brings us back to like type on a table, typesetting, moving pieces around, cutting things out. Like it just looks like very magazine ready, editorial ready. So
that was the inspiration. Is like you see a lot of my lettering is that style, and so that was the driver for like making this one. Was like I wanted something that looked like that, but also was like it was the typeset. It is complete, and you can type things out with it. So again, breaking the rules where you can, where you feel like you can put your stamp and your voice on it. I think one of the biggest things in my transitioning from being an engineer into being a creative and a designer is like I have a voice now. Before I didn't. I was the person who pushed the calculator and the buttons and everything. But now, like where I'm excited to go and put my voice on and my stamp on things. So I think that's something that we should all explore more. What do we sound like instead of what does everybody else sound like? So.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I would love to see if you did a typeface that explored that like breaking out of the box from the engineering background a little bit too, where it's like you get some like almost things that look like code or like a ASCII font or like really pixelated, and, or like a version of that could then be more like explosive or like animated or just like characterized. Like there's ways you can explore that intersectional identity that you have, only you have. Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
This guy, you just gave me. Hey, I've been looking. So
you got this.
I've been trying to figure out like what I want to talk about because last year I presented at AIGA Phoenix Design Week, and I've been trying to figure out like what I want to do, and that sounds really cool.
That would be super cool. And then I would also love to see you explore this more because
For sure.
the Q is amazing. Like it really stands out to me, like with a lot of personality. So like, what if there were alternatives? You know, you had like the letter and then like Illustrator or your software will suggest like alternatives.
Other glyphs,
other glyphs. So that would be cool to see on like certain ones that have a lot of standout.
For sure.
And then maybe even like one of the things that sticks out to me is the weights, like the variables. So like the V, the left side of the V is like super thin versus the right side really thick, which I like that. Like so it's not
reverse,
uniform. Yeah, and the X as well. It's got that. So it's like, how do you tinker with that and then bring it on more to the T or something else? So so things look more balanced out. And then the O looks maybe a little bit too robotic or chunky, whereas the other guys look fun and playful. He looks a little bit like just a little too.
I'm here to do my job.
Yeah, wrench. Like, he's the wrench in there. Like, he's ready to do his job. He needs to ease up around the edges a little. But yeah, this is great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you
for showing.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, would anybody else like to share their feedback? Okay. Or Cameron, sorry.
If you do a numbers set, you should definitely do one that has like the /0 because it's very computerized and that. And then I would say
I do have one.
give it a try as like a sports jersey because there's a kind of a varsity feel to it,
For sure.
but a little more modernized, like they were saying. It's a little twist on that, like, you know, what would it look like with the team name and that kind of staticky version.
Nice mock-up. That'd be fire. Okay.
I'll use that for a mascot. You're just.
Yeah, if anybody wants a copy, I'll send it to you. Just give me your email and I'll send you a copy of it. It's on my laptop right now.
Cameron, that could even be a good like sign up for the Type Thursday Phoenix newsletter. You'll get a copy of this.
I will do. You got it.
It's called
I'm curious to see the videos of your like animations, those 3 videos you had.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
play those for us?
They're actually, those are links to my Instagram. So I don't know if we're like set up for that.
I can pull them up.
Yeah. PWR.
We live in a golden age of technology. This will all work one day, I promise you. All right, here we go.
Needs more AI.
Yeah. More AI. That's the answer. Okay, let's
Just keep going up. There's one right there. If you go up, that no is one. It's type animation.
Okay. Right here.
Yep.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So those are just different colors.
What are you using for that?
After Effects.
Oh, that's professional.
Just a little bit. And there's more down if you want to scroll down the page a little bit more. That one is the power one in the middle, the green one. And those are all, you're just messing with like anchor points. And then keep going down. That one, the dots one.
That's amazing. Good job.
Yeah, Matt Boyce is was one of the people I talked about who's an inspiration. He was doing this with certain letters or certain phrases, and he was basically putting out one phrase animation like a day. And so he's a big inspiration to me when it comes to animating type, because that type of, relentless, to go for it that much. And basically he's a freelancer, and that's all he does now is type animation. So love it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really enjoyable. Thank you for being our first presenter ever.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Super good. So our second presenter is actually the Type Thursday chapter lead of Los Angeles. He is my good friend, and Mateo Cadena, are you here?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So do you have, you send it?
I sent it to your email.
Got it.
Yeah. Let's see.
I can give a quick story while I set that up.
Go for it.
So, let me set this down. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. I know this is a whole new thing to Phoenix as a city, and it started in New York, and Michael and I met in LA when he was living there through the AIGA board. And ever since I met Michael, I was like, this guy's really cool. He just has best vibes, so caring. And we started just talking once a week. And from there, everything, just magic started happening. And what we realized is, there's so much different disciplines in the community of design and design practice. And typography is one of the most difficult to learn and explore, and up level. You can't just read a book and then be perfect at typography. You've got to go and explore different things and try things, and then you also can't design in a vacuum and expect it's going to get better. So Type Thursday allowed both of us as a platform to be able to share our work, share it to audiences, and share ideas, get feedback live, and it just from there you just have so many ideas that you take with you into your work week. So really hope you guys enjoy this tonight, so you all have fun and you all keep coming back, because Type Thursday LA, or Type Thursday Phoenix now, we're launching the Phoenix chapter. It's definitely something that we hope that inspires you all. Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it, man.
Oh, thank you. Whoa, perfect time.
Just push the right.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, everybody. So my name is Mateo Cadena, and I'm from Los Angeles. I drove out here today, directly here, to give this presentation. So I'm excited to present and share my work with you. The project was called Type with Pride. And Type with Pride, so the creative brief, was design a Pride Month campaign, basically, from my original client, which was Children's Hospital Los Angeles, who I was freelancing for at that time. And then later on, AIGA LA approached me to do the same thing, to create a campaign for them as well. And yeah, we'll get to that. Time for constraints. So, number one, fuck the rainbow washing. Because everywhere we go in gay community or gay culture, Target, or everybody that CEO, executives that jumped on the bandwagon, they just threw rainbows at everything, and it gets sick, right? There's just sick rainbows for queer community stuff. So we were like, yeah, no rainbow washing, let's do something different. And then two, cut through the noise, because you got to catch people's attention, with what you're doing. And then three, it's better look damn good on mobile, because guess what? Everyone's on their phone nowadays or some other mobile application. So that was a challenge for me. And then don't forget the creative challenges, right? So one, design something that's culturally significant. So when we do a Pride campaign, a lot of times it's very inauthentic for a corporate company to be pushing something out. They just change their logo and throw a rainbow on it. So we were like, no, let's do something that's has significance, that means something. Two is you got highway, high speed, highly distractible humans online, right? So that's how you describe people online. They're just flying 100 miles an hour on the freeway, and guess what? They're distracted. So if they see something, to get them to engage, it's just gotta boom, it's gotta catch their attention and make them want to do something. And then three is make an impact, but in a tiny little square on Instagram on the phone. So it was oh crap, how do we make an impact but fit it into this constraint? And then you gotta ask the right questions. As part of my design process, I always like to ask a lot of questions, and then go deeper and ask the hard introspective questions. So, is it alphabet soup? LGBTQIA 2 Spirit plus? I even my own uncle asked me, Mateo, what the fuck does this mean? And I'm like, Uncle, I don't even know. I'm researching now to figure this out. And he's like, I was fine when it was LGBT. Like, why did it have to change? And I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna try to find answers for you. So, my thing is it this or is it culturally significant? And as I dug in and leaned into doing more research and found educational institutions and hospitals like Children's Hospital Los Angeles that were doing research programs, what we find is the acronym encompasses our diverse communities of peoples, which continues to evolve over time. And we all look at all this and we're like, okay, yeah, what's that? It's like, well, it's organic reoccurring sexualities. They happen to be even in natural ecosystems, from dolphins to seahorses to dogs, right? Dolphins who get together with other male or female counterparts and mate or partner, and they just navigate life together. Seahorses who actually change their sex depending on the experience or the environment or the atmosphere or what's needed. And then dogs who just like to play with each other and partner up with each other no matter what, you know? So queer is everywhere. Further, as a society, we learn and we grow and we continue to discover new identities and uncover old identities from old cultures like the indigenous tribes, which is where Two-Spirit comes from. So why even talk about gay shit? You know, this might be on the mind of some people is like, yo bro, I'm not gay, why are we talking about this? So this might be on a lot of people who I've talked to in the community, that's kind of their approach, right? So they're just like, I don't get it, why are we talking about this? And so what I say to them is, well guess what? Queer people, just people, right? Just like you and me, your friends, your family, your neighbors are under attack. Queer rights, funding, and services are systematically being abolished. Our people are being targeted for simply being who they are, uniquely human, uniquely them. How does that show up? I did lots of research, but I couldn't show it all here because we've only got 5 minutes. But some of the research that I wanted to highlight is that funding for Trevor Project, which is a suicide prevention hotline for LGBTQ plus youth, it got cut, right? So these people who were there to answer the calls of folks that are on their last road are no longer going to be able to answer those calls without funding from the government that's being pulled. 2, HIV funding is under attack, right? So the spread of HIV is still an epidemic, especially among young Latin, Black, Brown communities. There's still a high likelihood of spreading. And so we were working on eradicating that epidemic and using the funds from the government to make sure that it didn't spread anymore. If it did, people could live a normal life. But now that funding's gone. And 3, Children's Hospital shut down one of their largest divisions, which was a trans division, helping trans youth navigate the life, the medicine, the counseling, the services they all needed. And other funding was pulled from Children's Hospital. So in my research, I wanted to tie this back to me to make it authentic, to bring meaning and purpose. So I'm a survivor of suicide. So that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but I was like, I've lived through this because my family turned me away when I came out as gay, right? So I was turned away. I wasn't proud to be gay. So to be asked to do a pride campaign by these companies that I was working with was really intense for me because I did this deep introspection. And I'm a survivor, so like, how do I bring this in? How do I unite all this? I also fought for HIV advocacy because one of my best friends and first partners was actually HIV positive, but lived a happy, healthy life because the medicine was there, the research was there at his time. You know, my uncle and his friends, they didn't have that in their time. They lost a lot of friends, family, and mates. And then I also was freelance designer and experienced community organizer for Children's Hospital Los Angeles. And we ran an event with the Los Angeles Department of Mental Health, the county, some of the largest HIV and LGBT organizations like the Center and AHF. And we did this big event where we brought out over 300 people and we talked about how HIV is still an epidemic to this day, even this was all pre the current campaign and funding cuts. So it's scary. It's still, these are all issues that still exist. So integrating meaning through queer lived experiences became the mantra behind all of what I was trying to do. So here's my design process, what I thought. It's not just alphabet soup. So to answer that question from earlier, you know, a lot of these campaigns are guised as genuine pride from, you know, Twitter and Meta and all these other big Target and all these other ones. But my approach was to take a typographic exploration of our queer community and use this to help people understand who we are. So my first iteration was launched in 2021, and it looked like this, talking about LGBTQI2 spirit. And when you would swipe on the carousel, then you would get more information. And in addition, we did a queer spotlight to help spotlight people in the community. This was one of my friends, Ara, who lived through suicidal ideation because he was a queer identified person. And so it brought it back to the lived experiences of individuals in the community while also helping educate, what does it mean to be pansexual? What does it mean to be queer? What does it mean to identify queer versus gay? These are all questions that even our own people in our community ask themselves as they are learning about themselves as they grow up. This was a nice type specimen from the Adobe Illustrator file. So something that I did is in Illustrator or in any software nowadays, you can take type and make it 3D just automatically. But I come from an artistic background where I learned how to draw things by hand. And I was like, let me actually go into software and challenge myself by drawing the three-dimensional layers, layer by layer, and then see what that looks like zoomed out and all together. And I was like, oh, I really like this. Pulled out this specimen. Now, here comes the second iteration of the version. So I got feedback from a great mentor of mine in Los Angeles when AIGA approached me to bring the Pride campaign back the second year around. And this is when I was the vice president at the time, and it was also my last year on the board. So I was like, well, I definitely got to go on a high note and do something nice. And the feedback from my mentor, she was telling me, she's like, hey, the colors of the old version look a little murky, they're a little bit dark, so can we brighten it up? I was trying to avoid rainbow washing, so I was like, okay, how do I avoid rainbow washing but brighten it up still, punch those colors through. So this was the second iteration. Much brighter, much punchier. And then this is the application. So when you see the letter form and you swipe, you would understand now what L in LGBTQ means. It's people who identify as female and are attracted to the same sex. And then the G and the B. And then same thing for the trans, the queer, and the plus. The plus holds space for emerging identities, non-binary folks, intersex folks, two-spirited folks. So the plus is trying to be more of sort of a catch-all for as we learn new things and as new identities form, right? And then this is what it looks like just as the defined terms sort of laid out in panels, which I liked. I really wanted to make type the hero in this whole entire project. And so it was instead of trying to throw a bunch of text at you from the verse, it was just let me just make the letters the heroic form in this design. So for a 360 campaign, that goes in email, stories, Facebook, newsletters, Eventbrites, articles on Medium. This is what what boards kind of look like, so there's a consistency to what you're seeing as it's going out across all these different channels, right? So ultimately, our queer community needs your help to fight for our human rights. And this is where I would love to pose the question to the audience. As I look at bringing this project back to life for this year, I'm wondering what your ideas are for how I could just, what would you do in the perfect world, seeing all this, if you're going to bring this project back online, if you could make anything, if you could design anything, digital or physical, book or print, what would you make? if that was your challenge. And then thank you for allowing me the space to inspire you to type with pride.
Thank you, Mateo. And before we start on our conversation, does anybody want to answer or have any ideas about the first question you posed to me?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so if you were going to revive this campaign and it was going to be beyond digital, or you could do anything with it, if you could do a book or a magazine, what would you do as a 2025 revival for this campaign? How would you expand on it? It's a tough one.
Michael, do you have one?
Go for it. You can go.
Go for it.
Maybe you could challenge people to use these colors and these motifs to redesign a room or to create a piece of artwork.
Space.
Yeah.
I would love to see this in physical spaces too, or just the big letter L and the room's the color of L when it's actually big in space.
So not to hijack the question, have you seen the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics?
Yes, yeah. I got to see that branding from. I wish I was there, went to see it in person, but I've seen some of
But
that.
not the main logo, Sam the Eagle, but like the environmental like stages and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. I need to see more of it. And if anyone has not seen it, it's 1984, the design identity for the Olympics in Los Angeles. Beautiful, so well done.
But it reminds me of that. It's some of the
Thank you.
Just the same curvature and some of the colors as well.
Yeah. I didn't think of that, but now that you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, that does look very reminiscent.
Michael, do you
Yeah.
like-
What I think that this is, because this has a lot of sides to it. What I think would be cool is to create, and I'm going to use this reference, but I don't mean it to be this, but it's like, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons, you have those multi-sided like shapes.
Yes, yeah.
Using it and putting something on every side. So when you swipe it, it just turns and it gives you a new one. And you swipe up, and it just stays in place. But it's actually, I think that would be a neat way because it also kind of encompasses like this is the world.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like that shape. So it's like, you know, you're looking at the world, but you know, looking at something on the other side, but it's all connected. I think that would be an interesting idea.
I like the dimensionality of that too, like something that changes and moves in space. And yeah, there's ways to play with that virtually, digitally, and then also physically too. Yeah.
Oh, I just had another idea.
Yes.
Now, not to give you more homework,
I know.
but I wonder with each of those like 6 characters, if you could do another case or another version, like lowercase g, we know that it has like 3 or 4 different ways to draw lowercase g, and then it could become a simple animation where each one kind of, it's almost like random, like it's the same 6 characters, but there's now hundreds of combinations because it might be a lowercase l and a different sort of b and a, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a little more variation and multitude, which is sort of the human aspect of it. Everybody has their own unique situation and
Yeah.
characteristics.
Yeah, and like no two gay people or lesbian people are the same way. Like that's so like the alternative characters could change it. You could show that like diversity amongst even certain identities.
It's like a little subliminal. It's just like
It's cool.
this is complex. It's not just stamping you with something.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And this is a good time to say the original typeface is Gilbert font, and named after the inventor of the pride flag, right? So that was, and it's this typeface, the mission behind the Gilbert font. It's free, you can download it. If you Google it, I think Google Fonts allows you, and Adobe Fonts. And the mission behind this is to be like, we could wave our flags at pride protests, but for the longest time, we didn't have our own typeface or font for all of our messaging, our posters, our signage. And so the foundry, that it was a collaboration of people that worked together, and they were like, let's make a typeface that anyone can design, a poster, right, for a protest or a pride, and they can go out there and have a unified voice. So they based it off the pride flag. And then I took that and I was like, let me now experiment and play and decompose it, right, and bring it back together. So I really pulled it apart, and then also like how do I make it 3D and draw that, not just like in software. So yeah. Experiment with your own as well.
And I really like what you guys are kind of coming up with because it's almost, I love the 3-dimensionality that you're talking about and create these different components. And I see a lot of components almost where you can take them apart and form other things, you know, like those little, what are they called? Where you have the little blocks and you can, like the triangles and squares.
Tangrams?
Yeah, thank you. So something like that.
Yeah.
But what it made me think of when you guys were talking about, because I was thinking of the 3-dimensional thing, when you said it too, was the sum of the parts is greater than all the individual parts.
Yeah.
You know, and you have so many parts going on in each individual that
I love that.
pretty interesting. So
Very poetic too, and it makes me also think like it would be cool to have something that there's something tangible with this because it's been entirely digital, and most of my career has also been very digital or like events and experiential. So I'm like, I want something that's physical, like a book you can hold in your hands, and then also like a die you could roll, and so that there's like a whole kit to this. I like this. This is we're iterating here. Or do I make a room too? You walk into a room and you talk about that too, like interior design. That would be cool.
So I have a question kind of going away. So you talked a lot about your research, very inclusive, and then so when you did your research and you started doing your design process, how did those fit together? Like, how much research did you do before you started to design? Did you start to design first and be influenced by the research? Like, what was that process like?
So I think naturally I did like hop on the computer and just like type stuff out, and like I hated the end result because it was just like so generic and it looked like everything else and it looked rainbow washed, and I was like, oh, I'm trying to get away from that, but it still looks this way. So then I was like, well, I know what I need to do. I need to stop trying to just like make crap and just go research. And so I think the initial iterations were, maybe I spent like an hour, let's say, right, and they just looked bad. And then I was like, okay, let me go research now because I'm getting frustrated. And the research, I had so much fun doing it that I think I spent like days, probably 3 days of research after that. And then I was like, oh my God, no, I've been spending 3 days now, the deadline's coming up, and yeah, I need to show them a draft. So then I went to go design it after doing the 3 days of research, and like all of a sudden, really cool ideas just started coming out of me. Way better, way cooler than what I was doing before, and much faster. I think in 45 minutes I had something that I was like, oh, this is it. I'll show them this draft, and then I got to work that forward.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, and I think a lot of the best design comes out that way for sure. So your first iteration that you showed us was from the Children's Hospital. Was that
Yes,
correct?
yeah.
And the second one was from the AIGA.
Yes.
And your mentor had you lighten up the
The colors.
fonts.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
we see the previous version and then the new version?
This is a good fact. So iteration 2021, dark and murky. She was like, no, these are too muddy. Your colors are muddy. And I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. I think because you know why it was muddy.
What's the black?
It's the
Not
black.
really the colors.
It's the black, but it's also I did all opacity. So like none of these were solid colors because I wanted to experiment with like, oh, if I'm doing opacity on everything and 3D, can you see through the shade? And it didn't work out. It just like it's software, you can kind of see it, but when you export it, you just don't see that richness. And then the black on top of it that flattened everything. And then okay, so I was like, okay, that's the feedback. Even these on a non-black background, this is more of a gray background, they still kind of look a little murky. They look brighter, more excitable, but the opacity thing was just killing me. So this time, when I went into it, the background was already bright. And then I was like, well, for accessibility purposes too, I also want to have enough contrast. So that's when I drew the shadow in, And I also played with like color palettes that were brighter and punchier, and no opacity this time. Yeah, it was just a solid color in there. So.
Yeah, the shapes inside in your letter forms are so much fun.
Yeah, I had so much fun making this. Like the Q took me forever. I was like, what are you doing, Q? Like, why are you giving me so much pain? Like, and then it like finally came out cool. The G, a lot of it's based on the original Gilbert font, so kudos to the Foundry collaborators who made this. They did a great job. And then just like trying to make it 3D, some of it kind of disappears, and maybe that's where I can iterate and do better visual accessibility thing. Like here's, it's disappearing. The computer's also like making it disappear. But yeah, now I've learned a lot more about web accessibility, visual accessibility. People who have there's a percentage of people in our population who can't see it's greens and reds, right? And so, but that affects every color that they see. So if the contrast ratio isn't right, then they're not going to be able to see the shapes or read the text. So I think in my new iteration, that would be something I would want to consider more. It's like how do I keep the colors nice and punchy, but still enough visual contrast. It's accessible.
Yeah.
So maybe I missed this. Is the other point of this is for the community to adopt this as a standard, like your North Star, like this is branding, this is the standard for everyone to use nationally?
Yeah, it's more so like a pride campaign for the month. So the way that we executed it was over the course of June, we would post throughout, like, I think 3 times a day, right? And so it would be like, you'd see the letter, and then you'd see the carousel, and then you'd see the definition of an identity. So it was ultimately, our organization wanted to also be like, yeah, here we are, we stand together with this community, we're proud, and we're putting something forward at Children's Hospital and at AIGA, right? But it wasn't like for them to put out not a typeface or anything. That's where I was like, the Gilbert font is that's where I was rambling about Gilbert font, why I like it so much. That's them. They put together this typeface that you can download and use, and it unifies your messaging and branding and stuff. Yeah.
I actually don't know how to answer your question, but I will say the color palette it's got staying power as opposed to what I normally see earlier presented, the whole rainbow flag, which is, it's what the cannabis community did, right? It was all like marijuana leaves and Bob Marley. Now they've grown and adjusted, and they're a lot more sophisticated, and that obviously gets people to buy in on it, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a good direction. Like for me, I was just thinking this could be the new color palette. Right?
Ooh, okay, yeah. So I'm on to something with this one. Just like keep exploring these color choices. I like this one a lot. I think there are some areas where I could make it more visually accessible. Yeah, but it definitely looks way less murky than what I was doing before. But yeah, what's the trim back here? There we go. Yeah, these just kind of get browned and muddied out. But
Because you took away that orange, I think that probably helped.
yeah,
Helped a lot.
It dropped orange too. Yeah, he was a little too crazy.
Yeah, because now you got the CMYK going, and then you got the purple to kind of for that secondary color palette.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. And I love I love Gestalt principles. You got a whole bunch of Gestalt stuff going on in here too, which is really cool.
I feel like I need to read into this more. Gestalt principles?
Yeah. If you haven't, look up Gestalt principles.
I've heard it before, but I'm like,
It was originally we stole it from psychology, but it's how the brain sees shapes and how we can influence how the brain sees shapes.
Yeah.
Right. So how that B top of that B goes into the middle and it changes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different shapes, but our brain sees it as one continual shape.
that's right. Yeah.
That's a Gestalt principle.
And I think that came from the original typeface makers of the Gilbert font because they played with that a lot. But then I tried to take it to another level. This looks kind of crappy because I'm not in the software, right? But with like the way that the layers of the B intersect, so you can kind of see like this pink and this purple, but it's almost like a visual trip for your eyes.
Right.
It was hard for me to design this. It was hard to look at, but I was like, I kind of like what's happening here because there's an overlapping weird thingy going on here.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last comments? Yes.
Yeah, so I like the way you have used the gradient at the background of all the letters, like mixing the different colors. But if you just a suggestion from mine, that if you use one of the colors from the specific letter, which is not the majority ones, if you see in the L letter, the yellow color is the least used. So if you used it as a solid background during any of the campaigns, and it would be like a figure ground principle of design, and people will be figuring out that okay, this is the L and the solid color will be just like the ones emphasizing it. So maybe it would be a principle of design which will be used, and instead of just a gradient, you can explore different solid colors using during the branding.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I need to explore that.
And also, I was just curious, which font did you use for the presentations for the headlines?
Sorry, say that again. Which?
The font.
The font which you used for the whole presentation?
Oh, I didn't tell you about that font. Yeah, I was trying to get that one for me.
Actually, it's really good.
You like it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Me too.
Because it's all of the serif at the end and then the sample at the
beautiful.
start.
Yeah.
I really loved it.
Afronaut and on Adobe Fonts. So if you search Adobe Fonts, it's like AFRONAUT, Afronaut or Afronaut. And so once I saw this, I was like, oh, it's so perfect, it's so gay, it's so queer, it's so happy. Like, look at the way the A is just like. I was like, I love you, A. Because I wanted something too to contrast from what I was doing with this, because I've played with it where I only use the Gilbert font for everything, and it starts to look too like childlike, or like it's aiming for like a younger audience, and it doesn't look mature enough. And so I was like, no, it needs we need a serif in there, we need contrast, we need some extra things going on, because if it's all just typeset and that, which in the beginning of when I was trying this, that's what I was doing, and it just looked too elementary in a way. So I was like, this looks more sophisticated where you combine it with other typefaces, and it also becomes more legible too, because you're not messing with the typeface, you're allowing this to really stand as a one message. Which also now I'm looking at this, I'm like, damn, my copywriting skills got so good, because at one point this was 3 paragraphs of what a lesbian was. I had typed 3 paragraphs worth of what each of these were, and then I was like, oh, it needs to be a sentence long because it's in a tiny little square. So other design challenges that I overcame. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, great feedback. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mateo. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. That was tremendous. Thank you. And something I wanted to make mention of also, for all you designers out there, it's a lot easier to execute a great idea than take a bad idea and make it great. So that's what research will do. So if you do your research beforehand, you can execute these things. But that was tremendous. Thank you so much. Are you ready? You want to do this?
Definitely not, but okay.
All right. This is the hot seat.
I'm only up here because none of you guys volunteered. So thank you.
Yes. Well, we can get it out of the way. So I'm actually going to pull up Illustrator. So there you go.
All right. All right. So my name is Mike Scott. I'm a longtime Phoenix graphic designer. I started here in the Valley in 1998. I was a signage designer. I designed, I think from that point, I designed signs for what used to be South Mountain Point Hill, or South Mountain, yeah, Point Hilton. And then I just kind of went up. I worked for Campbell Fisher Design. I did a lot of work for all the different teams. And then at some point I got disenfranchised with the whole design thing, and I became a graphic design teacher, and that's what I do currently. And then I work freelance as well. And that's why Michael asked me to do this, because I'm better at talking to people talking with people than talking to people. Right now I'm talking to you guys instead of talking with you guys, so it's a little weird for me. I teach high school, and so my classroom is, my students love me because I don't talk a lot, right? I give them the ideas, go do the ideas, I'll help you one-on-one. Okay, so this is, if I seem a little nervous, it's probably why. Okay, so I met Michael a couple months ago. We were going to the AIGA portfolio review over at ASU. We were both lost in the design building. We ran into each other, and he's like, "Where are you going? Do you know where it's at?" Nope, I'm Mike, I'm Michael. And then we sat down at the same table, and he invited me on this journey with him. So that's where we're at. All right, so I'm going to kind of show you really holistically what this is. This is a project I've kind of been working on for a long time. This is the first time anybody's ever seen it, other than myself and my wife. And it's really so I come from working with high school students. I taught art and computers for a long time too. I can't tell you how many art students are out there that don't have opportunities because they're not good at math or reading or whatever, right? And they drop out, right? But they're beautiful artists. They do amazing work. So this project is really aimed at them. So what it's called is 100 Ultimate, and the idea is to find a way to financially give high school artists that might be on the verge of dropping out a reason to stay in and complete high school, right? And we do that by showcasing their artwork, right? Giving them a revenue stream by giving them a way for other people to buy their artwork on t-shirts or prints or merch or whatever, right? And that's the whole idea. So, but again, this is the first time me vocalizing it in front of anybody, okay? So if it sounds kind of all over the place, it's because I don't have a pitch or anything yet. Yeah, we need like a stand.
We do.
I can just talk like this. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a teacher voice. I can talk loud if I need to. Okay, so 100 Ultimate. This is a Mac, man. All right. I use a PC, and I know that's sacrilegious to a lot of you guys. that it is what it is, man. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's backwards. Why is it backwards?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I set it to backwards.
I don't like it. It's like I'm an airplane pilot. Okay. All right. Where do I start? Okay. So this was really about, a lot of my work is about symbolism. This is the original font right here that I started with. I don't know what the font's called. I have the live font on my other one. I had to give him the that line font because of, font issues. So this is what I start with, okay? And so 100 in Roman is a C. So I took that and I put that little C inside that H over there. Okay, so we got double meanings, we got the, and again, this is, okay, so when I'm designing this, let me give you my thought process. When I'm designing this, I'm around high school kids all day, okay? So I need to design something that I know they're gonna like, okay? They like edgy and they like rich, right? They like Louis Vuitton, but they also like edgy stuff, okay? So I'm trying to create this brand, right, that is gonna attract them. I need them to submit artwork to me, okay? And the only way they're gonna submit artwork to me is if they connect with the brand, okay? And that's the depth of the brand, okay? There's not a lot more to it. We got some color and the way I use certain elements, but we can kind of go through it. Okay, so here we got the C, leaving this up there, 100 Ultimate, just kind of, so Ultimate 100, meaning the idea was to pick the ultimate idea is to pick 2 students in every state, right? And this is the Ultimate 100, right? For that 6-month period or 1-year period or 3-month period, whatever it is, right? But they're that 100 for that time period, okay? So let's go through all the little branding stuff I did. All right, so you can kind of see, so I got curated by, that's where, the show would be. I got a lot of different type treatments down here on different ways to play with this. The X, I don't know what it is about high school students, but they like X's and they like stars. Okay, I don't like stars. I get mad at my students when they use stars. So they didn't do star, but I threw the X in there. So color choices, real stark. Again, we throw that gold in there because again, students, for whatever reason, I think it's the pop culture that they're in, they're attracted to that rich, that, the Guess and the Louis Vuitton and the Supreme and all that stuff, right? So, and again, this is just some playing around with 365, 24/7, because a lot of these artists, I have some artists that's all they do in every class is draw. And they go home and they draw. And they got sketchbooks full of just drawings. And it's just all the time, right? They can't stop themselves. I wish I had the talent that some of my students do, because they're amazing. Here's another type treatment for 100 Ultimate, using the actual 100 in there. I played around with creating some patterns. I created some little quotations, motivational. Some I think I created, and some I think I stole. I don't know which ones are which. I'd have to go back to Google and figure out which ones are which, right? But some of them are pretty fun. But my main thing was this. Where is it? Oh, creativity is contagious. Okay, and we saw it with Cameron's, right? Because he started talking about allowing his friends to use his typography, and then you guys started to get ideas, right? Creativity's contagious all the time, right? And that's how you gain, especially as a high school teacher, that's how you get the students involved in your work, right? That's how you get the students to trust you and to trust themselves, right? Is that creativity component. So that's what a lot of this is built around. So I got some different, I haven't looked at these for a long time. This one's cream, creative rule. Creatives rule everything around me. Imagine it, create a show, I support your local creative. Okay, I got some big ones down here. So here's some more type treatments. All right, playing with that negative space. Here, imagine, create, push boundaries, break molds, be true to you. This is really my philosophy in my classroom. Pure creativity is the absence of fear in a vacuum of your own consciousness. So have you guys ever been in that? Where you're just creating and like 5 hours later, like you don't know where you've been, right? That's what that is, right? You're in a vacuum, okay? So here we're playing around with Ultimate. This is the art contest. So I was playing around with the logo for the art contest. Playing around with how to use it with illustration. Again, trying to blow up, but also still keep it sharp. Again, some playing around with patterns. Kids love patterns, man. So And that's about it, man. That's where I'm at. It's very holistic. I didn't have planned out presentations like these guys did, so feel free to ask me anything about anything.
No, I love all this. And in the A, you took that out, and it's funny because you said you hate stars. That'd be an awesome place for a little star.
I hate stars.
I love stars. I'm opposite of you. But also, I really like what you've done with this, and it reminds me of like a creativity dojo, like almost like kind of a fight club, not in a literal sense, but a club that it's only the tough survive, you know, because these people are making tough decisions. I had to make that tough decision as well at a very young age. It's like being an artist was really the only thing I knew. So I can really relate to these kids. It's like, you know, creativity can give you a career in life, but you have to really dedicate yourself to it. But you also have to be encouraged by it too. So I'm very, thank you for telling me this, and we haven't talked about this. So that's fantastic. I'm really glad that you showed this.
Yeah, I had it hiding for a long time.
Yes, of course. We all have a whole bunch of projects we're all hiding.
Right.
And I saw an opportunity. Okay, so you said you had the C in there for the 100.
Yeah.
And I like that you used that original H.
Well, I modified it.
You modified it.
Yeah, I modified it. I modify at least part of all my letters because I tell my students, you can't just type out a logo.
That's it. Exactly. Right. It needs some personality to it, and you have to modify it. I'm going to throw this at you.
Here, I can show you the difference. So here's the original H.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys look close enough, but you guys can see the
Put that C in there.
Well, no, so this serif up here is way different.
Yep.
Yeah, and I had to modify a lot of this around here. And this piece up here, I had to cut that off. Again, that's that. But so just little modifications. I did this little cutout right here.
Yes.
Yeah, so just little tiny things.
Yeah, and here's something that I think, like if I had this, what I think I would play with is, so you can see that C in there.
Yes.
Right? It'd be very interesting to take that same C, flip it backwards, and take out that other one. So you actually have the same shape, but used twice in different ways. So it would be bigger. Does that make sense?
Well, you may use the C for this.
Yeah, take that C, flip it, make it bigger, and just use that, so you're just mirroring that C. It would just be interesting something to play with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a solution, but that's the first thing I saw with that. I'm like, well, you could actually make this whole H potentially out of that C.
Yeah,
you know,
I like
use that same shape.
Yeah, that's
something to think about.
It's fun. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just something to play with.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think what you said about the Creative Dojo thing is for a student, I'm talking because from my teacher side, from a student to be successful in a classroom, they got to feel safe, right? And so you are creating that kind of dojo atmosphere, right? Where everybody has a safe place to express themselves without being judged by anyone, right? And that gives them, and all of a sudden, at first it's funny because they sit there. I have this exercise for them, and I tell them just to sketch, right? And a lot of them just sit there. And they're like, I ask, what are you doing? I'm thinking. Like, why are you thinking? Just start drawing. I don't know what to draw. You don't have to draw anything. Just move the pencil. So we have these exercises where they have to move their pencil for 30 seconds without stopping, no erasing, and either it's abstract or something. They just have to draw something. It doesn't matter what it is. And after doing that for a few weeks, their sketchbooks just fill up because they've overcome that wall, right? So yeah, so it's a good exercise.
You had a question?
Yeah, sort of a comment.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a old-fashioned calligraphy class?
No.
I think, well, I'll recommend it to the room that Allison King does a 2-day workshop in Phoenix Design Week.
Okay.
And it's like 6 hours across 2 days. And she takes us through traditional black letter calligraphy. And it's really interesting because it's very structured. Like there's only like 4 or 5 strokes, and then once you put the strokes in combination, you can make all the characters.
I love that.
So it's not like Chinese calligraphy where it's study this for 40 years and you're halfway there. It's like, no, you kind of get it in 3 hours. But that's where the modification gets a little tricky, I think, is because it's not just an H that someone made. It represents the strokes, and there's like a historic and also like a mechanical reason that, you know, that this is the thin one and then the thick one goes in the other direction. So that might add, if you're going to go in a black letter world, that might add a dimension for it.
I love that idea.
But also this, just like when you zoom out, it kind of feels like an alcohol brand to me. You know? And I'm like, this
Well, I do work with high schoolers.
or it could be like a very subversive brand of canned apple juice or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But just like that's the whole theme, is that it looks like malt liquor.
Right. Yeah. Wasn't that what's that water with the skull on it?
Liquid death.
Liquid death. Yeah. That same.
Yep.
Looks like beer can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Deo.
Back in the old days, Type Thursday LA, we would queue up in a line and we'd have like all the people ready and the speakers would go, and they would fight over the microphone, not that part. But yeah, we love it when we have an active community and so much good ideas here. First of all, I love that you're working with students and inspiring the next generation of creatives.
My student back there, Enrique, is our lead photographer.
Hey, Enrique.
He was graduated 3 years ago.
Woo!
3 years ago.
Yes, shout out to Enrique. Pursue creativity. Yeah. So he's seen both sides, this you presenting and then you being in this classroom too.
Yeah. I do yearbook too, so he's in my yearbook class. It's a different monster.
Yeah. I'm curious with this identity, is this finished? Is it done? Or are you able to revise it? Are you going to go back? What are you thinking?
It is nowhere near done. Again, this was just the beginning. I just kind of was just playing around with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you got really locked in and committed to the black letter on this, and the color palette too.
Yeah, so when you were talking about, or one of you guys were talking about designing in a vacuum, it's exactly what I did with this. So that's why showing it to you guys today is kind of helpful.
That's why we have Type Thursday.
That's right. That's right.
This is what it's for. I love it. I love what you've done, and I also like your attention to detail with your audience, right? Because every designer, we have an audience.
Yes.
Who are we making it for? And hence you said like the brands, or it looks like a beer label or something, right? So it's getting them enticed by it. I think the X, something's drawing me to the X, even though you hate it.
No, I like the X.
Oh, you like the
I
X?
don't like stars.
You don't like the star? I thought you said you didn't like the X.
No, I like X's.
Okay, so the stars, I'm with you. Stars are out. I'm with you on that one.
Yes.
We stars everywhere. Yeah. But the X, I like the X. I like where it's going. I also, the ultimate, I don't know, like this second one that's red, and then the ultimate is white. Yeah, please zoom in on that. Go down, and then left.
This left.
Yeah, I know, it just all mixed around on you. Yeah, Michael got it. That one. Okay. I think I see a lot of potential with what's happening there. I don't know why, but it really stands out to me as youthful, young, edgy. Me and my sister, my sister's here today, by the way. She's back there. In high school, we were skater kids, singing Avril Lavigne's Skater Boy song and like wannabe skaters at the skate park, and like all the brands that stood out to us in the mall. Like this feels like a brand that, like, as young kids, we're like punk rock and against the grain, like, oh yeah, we buy that brand,
Right.
Maybe there's a little too much going on with like the elements floating in the negative space of the X, because that I feel almost is detracting in a way. Or is there like, it's just maybe a more simplified way that could be maybe in the background, there's just one of those and it's more in the background, or like opacity, or you play with like just a less dense mark and the X being more prominent so it can kind of come forward more. The other suggestion I thought was great was actually doing calligraphy, because when I started, I hadn't done it, and then I tried it and I fell in love. And then also changed the way I approach everything I do with typography, right? Because like originally it's all from calligraphy, it's all from my hand. And when you see the way you can build shapes out of like just simple forms, right? With the calligraphy pen, all of a sudden like, oh, this, I can play with with this, I could try that. And it just changes your approach with all of this. It just like makes your brain go in a whole different direction. Because what I see here is like when we zoom out, if we look at everything from afar, it really looks like you sort of locked in and got committed to this one idea, and you exploded it. But then there's no alternate direction for us anymore, because you really got tied into this idea, which it looks great. Like you can watch it and start selling merch.
It's my ADHD. Once I pick a direction, it's
yeah,
but that's why I can change, but I need to finish the idea first and then move forward. But
that's good. I started like a million ideas and then I never finished one. That's that's my version.
But I love the idea of actually going through and taking a black letter typography class and developing my own.
Phoenix Design Week, September. You'll be there.
Well, that's what Michael said. So.
Shout out to Phoenix Design Week. And yeah, definitely take a calligraphy course if it's digital, virtual, video. In person would be best if you can. Yeah, because that'll change. It'll also help you introduce maybe something new to the students. Because like when you do like sit down and like draw out your calligraphy ideas and like with this calligraphy pen on paper for an hour, and then all of a sudden go in the computer, what they make is entirely different, right? So sometimes the computer, like even though it expands our mind, it also limits us because the software just kind of does things for you, right? Like this is where you kind of fall into like a software trap, like you're just using things that the software does. But if you did this all on paper, you would explore whole worlds of different directions, and then you'd come back to the software with like lots of cool new ideas.
Yeah, and I totally did what I tell my students not to do. I always tell my students that you always start on paper first. But again, this was just, like I said, it just ran. But I'll take definitely all your suggestions.
I also like this bowl thing going on here.
That's exactly what I was going to do.
That's really cool graphical effect. The ultimate being slapped over and on an angle doesn't work for me. I feel like there's something there that's like it's not working.
Yeah.
It feels like urgent or like ASAP or like military document only. Don't look at this thing. But the bowl and then the text on top, the textures that you're getting out of that would look really cool. What's going on with the Ultimate 365 and the white, the black, and the red combinations in specific reminds me a lot of what you see in like the EQ era, Japan style flat design stuff. And I love that kind of aesthetic, the Eastern aesthetic. And I think you could maybe explore that more. Anything Japanese is like always designed beautifully, high quality, and then you're talking about your kids the students are like, oh, high luxury, we like that, And this looks like that. This gets my attention. This makes me think expensive, high quality, luxury, So what's happening here? It needs a little bit of refinement, but what's happening here, you could explore this more. And these colors are working really well, and the way that you're applying it here too. Yeah.
Like I feel like this could arc a little bit, and you can actually see that 3 a little bit better. You know what I'm talking about? Just having that little bend in it might give it a little dimension as well.
Yeah.
Something different instead of being straight, vertical and horizontal.
Yeah, so it's funny because so when I'm designing, I'm pretty good about getting inside my client's headspace. So trying to design something from a high school standpoint versus what I'm trying to design for a client is different because they're not as literal with a lot of things as we are, right? Mm-hmm. They don't judge the same things we do the same way that we do, right? So that part's really tricky.
Yeah, but I think for students, it's for kids that young, it's what they feel, right? Like in high school, I was emo and I was a skater kid, but I loved all the feelings, and everything. Yeah. Anything that made me feel, I was like, oh my god, that's cool. Anime, I love that stuff. So anime has become really popular. Now you got the blend of hip hop and anime. So and then this is almost looking like anime inspired here. So and then a little hip hop to it. So how do you take this direction and just explore that more? And that's what's resonating with young demographics right now. So
I love it.
No, this is really cool.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I love all the documents. They're great.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just thinking of myself in high school. My 14 through 18-year-old self would absolutely buy this, love this, be obsessed with this.
Well, thank you.
I can see this on t-shirts, just products in general. I absolutely love this.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because I don't know how many of you guys have teenagers in your lives, but their clothing and the graphics they wear are just different.
a lot of times, you know? And so, you know, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just so, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Be sure it is.
Well done.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, where's the mic for this extra?
I just put it
On the ground?
So thank you for being at our very first Type Thursday Phoenix. We will be back here on July 31st at Dialog. So please come out. We'd love to have you. Please follow us on Instagram. There's the QR code. We would appreciate it. And thank you for all your support tonight. We've been overwhelmed by the generosity of everybody involved. And you made this happen. So thank you so much. A round of applause for yourself. All right, we'll see you in July. Thank you for coming out.
I didn't work with kids to be this special.
You liked it?